knowing myself.
The Commonwealth of Man represents the very best and very worst that humanity has to offer. But if I had to sum them up in one word, it would be survival. In 4 words, survival at any cost. Today I'm going to roleplay as the Commonwealth of Man in Stellaris and play into the far future to see where this offshoot of humanity ends up arriving. It might not be a very pleasant place at all. This is of course going to be a roleplay game, and I will try to stay true to the foundation the Commonwealth of Man lore provides us. So without any further ado, let's dive in and take a look at the nation we will be playing today. The Commonwealth of Man are humans from Earth, but they don't live on Earth any longer. You see, the United Nations sponsored Ulysses Initiative oversaw the construction of 6 great arc ships in low Earth orbit at the end of the 21st century. The ships carried 250,000 colonists each and were sent through a recently discovered subspace phenomenon on the outer edge of the Oort cloud, a small, unstable wormhole. None of them were ever heard from again, and the destabilized wormhole completely vanished. Yet unbeknownst to Earth, one of the arc ships actually survived the passage and established a flourishing colony on a lush alien moon, which they named Unity. These pioneers tamed this world and were determined to realize humanity's manifest destiny, dominion over the galaxy, at basically any cost. And that's somewhat represented with our xenophobia and fanatic militarism. We put the projection of force at the utmost in terms of what is important to us, and we really do not trust aliens whatsoever. Unity was a hellish world. It said garden earlier, but it was actually pretty hellish when we arrived. A lot of alien creatures, not thinking creatures, but we're talking the local fauna, wanted to eat us, and they did. It was kind of awful. But we managed to cling on Unity, and we formed a military dictatorship, mostly out of necessity. It was a harsh environment. It was a cruel environment, and it required totalitarian kind of authority in order to make sure that the entire race would survive. There wasn't time for democratic process, it required action. But it was successful. That is why we have distinguished admiralty. The fleet and admiralty have unusually prominent roles in our society, wielding a great deal of influence in political circles. They have the pick of the litter when it comes to new military recruits. We're also very proud of our heritage and the fact that we have managed to survive. This represented in nationalistic zeal, massively reducing our war exhaustion gain, reducing our claim influence cost, and giving us 5% more diplomatic weight per rival. Distinguished Admiralty giving us a lovely 10% ship fire rate bonus and plus 10 fleet command limit, and if that wasn't enough, also plus 2 to our commander starting skill level. Given our initial ruler is a commander, they're going to be starting at level 3. All hail the Grand Marshal, Sydney Beauclair. When it comes to traits, we are exactly the same as the UNE humans. Let's not forget, we only separated from them about 100 to 150 years ago. We are adaptive, so we are highly effective at colonizing foreign environments. We are nomadic, we like to travel, look at us here on Unity. And we are wasteful. Members of this species have no concept of frugality and are prone to useless consumption. I'm sure that Earth has got absolutely no environmental issues, or at least by the time we find it, it will be fine. Looking at our origin, we have an origin specially made just for the Commonwealth of Man. This is the Lost Colony origin. Our starting planet has the colonial spirit modifier and keeps this modifier forever. It's a really good modifier to have forever as well. It grants 15% additional resources from jobs, 10% habitability. When combined with adaptive, that should put us on 100% on our capital, so we're actually not suffering there. We're getting 15% more amenities and happiness, so this world should be absolutely lovely. It also means an advanced AI empire will spawn in the galaxy. This will definitely be the United Nations of Earth. We must find them, and we must work out what to do with them. We are also, of course, dictatorial. That will reduce the number of recruitable leaders we have, but give our ruler 25% additional experience gain. Every time our ruler dies, we will have a new election, a free and fair election to pick the next Grand Marshal. The Commonwealth of Man aren't necessarily evil, we are authoritarian. We have had a really unpleasant past. We've struggled and we've had to push to get where we are today. We cannot lose sight of those origins, but I will not be role-playing the Commonwealth of Man as exclusively good. We're going to just see where the roleplay takes us, ladies and gentlemen. But before we dive into the game, I need to say a special thank you to Stardock for sponsoring this video. Have you ever played an RTS and thought, what if the battles were huge? Like thousands of units kind of huge? That's Ashes of the Singularity 2. There are 3 factions, humanity, the AI substrate, and the post-human coalition, who are locked in a bitter fight for control of the solar system. But here's the twist. This isn't a game about spamming clicks or micromanagement, it's about strategy, putting the right forces in the right place at the right time. The battlefields are absolutely massive. We are talking continent-sized with a real-time strategic zoom that takes you from orbit all the way down into the front lines. And every faction plays differently, with their own philosophy and style of war. Whether you want to dive into the campaign, jump into instant action, or face friends online in multiplayer, Ashes of the Singularity 2 will deliver the feeling of commanding an actual war. So are you ready to decide the fate of the solar system? Use the link in the description and wishlist Ashes of the Singularity 2 on Steam now. And if you'd like to follow along at home, these are the settings I'll be using today. Over 100 years have passed since the great ark ship Chrysanthemum carried 250,000 of our ancestors from the distant and long-lost Earth to the garden world we have come to know as Unity. After a long and perilous journey, the colonists rejoiced when they first saw sunlight again, albeit from a foreign and slightly blue star. The early years were difficult. Citizen militias were formed to fight off the lethal alien wildlife that we found ourselves sharing a new home with, and cultivating the terrestrial crops that had been brought proved harder than imagined. Yet for each challenge overcome, we became stronger. With this new world tamed, our numbers grew exponentially. The last few decades have actually seen great leaps in technology, and we are now, finally, ready to reach out and reclaim the stars from whence we came. Led by the Grand Marshal Sidney Beauclair, the Admiralty is ready, and we're going to make the most of it. This will be the human race's finest hour. In fact, our long-range scans suggest there are 2 other garden worlds in the Avarim and Fostro systems that are within our reach. Feng Cheng, our head of research, has been dispatched to be the very first human to travel faster than the speed of light. Of course, Feng Cheng expects a lot of hostile resistance on these worlds. The native flora and fauna is almost certainly going to be inimical to human life, just like on our beautiful Unity. So coming up with a plan in order to tame these worlds is of the utmost importance. A ground defense plan. Feng Cheng also has a secondary mission. We have found absolutely no trace of the 4 ark ships that passed through the wormhole before the Chrysanthemum arrived at Unity. One ship, the Hyacinth, was scheduled to make the passage after us, and the Chrysanthemum's long-range sensors reported a brief energy spike from the wormhole shortly before it destabilized and vanished. Assuming that this ship survived the passage and made it to our galactic neighborhood, the ark ship has so far failed to establish any contact with us. It is of the utmost importance that we search these nearby systems for signs of its presence. The hunt for the Hyacinth is on. It would be wrong of us to traverse into the great unknown of space without also sorting out our problems at home. Sprawling slums, vast shanty towns filled with the poor and the outcasts cover certain regions of the world. For that reason, the great Grand Marshal Sidney has ordered they be dispersed immediately, and their population put to greater work in the name of the human race. Priority top secret message for the Admiralty. Whilst exploring Evarim, our chief scientist has made contact with a strange alien race. Calling themselves the Azantian Remnant, they have called us pitiful creatures. We do not yet know if they mean to strike out against us, but at this time, All fleets are on high alert. Strike Force Kraken, our main defensive unit, is taking up position above Unity in order to repel any invading threat. We have no assessment yet of their forces, but they do look very strange, and they were rather aggressive. The recommendation from their chief scientist is that we make further preparation for defense. In a stunning turn of events, that message was leaked on a dark web forum on Unity. Footage of these creatures has shaken our society to its core. This has then spread through media outlets across the Commonwealth of Man, and many citizens have been gripped by panic. Rioting has been reported in several cities. These strange aliens appear to have achieved a level of technology far beyond our own, but for now, many news outlets are simply claiming it's CGI, so hopefully we don't have too much to worry about. Thankfully, our people are resolute. Many humans are now flocking to join our armies. Recruitment centers are overflowing, and we will be ready for whatever the aliens have to throw at us. In response to this direct threat to the survival of the human race, the Grand Admiral has issued an unyielding policy. The galaxy is vast and full of dangers, and we must be prepared to meet them with the force of arms that may be required. We must travel softly, but carry a big stick. For that reason, we're diving into the unyielding tradition. In the year 2203 of the Standard Calendar, our very first colony, outside of course of Unity, has been settled. The planet has been christened Citadel, and we've taken many lessons from our past, from the colonization of Unity. Strength and vigilance on not just this world of Citadel, but every world will secure the future of the human race. A single jump away from Deneb, the capital system, in Forestro, we have found evidence of an ancient alien civilization. From what we have learned so far from their language, we think they called themselves the Irasian Concordat. They were an interstellar power that held sway over this region of the galaxy a little over 1 million years ago. There are several references in their literature to some sort of plague called the Javorian Pox, which swept across their empire and had devastating results, possibly leading to their overall extinction. Our scientists are taking every precaution. We of course have a lot of experience with xenobiology and alien diseases, and confidence remains high. What is the point of a civilization if it cannot protect its citizens? The very first thing we are building on Citadel is going to be a stronghold. The stronghold will give us a great defensive position to ward off any hostile alien threats, like the Azanthians, and from this solid foundation we can expand further, adding in a medical center to provide for the needs of this population on a world that's not really suited to human life, but very, very nearly there. Thebes is the third planet to join the Commonwealth of Man. Like Citadel, we have built a stronghold here, we are building a medical center and some luxury residences for the very best and brightest of our soldiery. Unfortunately, there have been some seismic disturbances on Thebes. In 2210, tremors were felt across the entire planet, and many settlements suffered damage. Whilst investigating the earthquakes, our scientists discovered a vast network of subterranean caverns. What I'm about to tell you will not leave the Admiralty, ladies and gentlemen. The deepest of these caverns is home to some kind of indigenous civilization, and they appear to be tunneling towards the surface. Ground vibrations from our settlements may have triggered this behavior, but we cannot be certain. There is no telling how these aliens will react when they spill out of their tunnels and encounter our colonists, but one thing is certain. We have a duty to protect the lives of every man, woman and child on Thebes, and we will not quake before that mission. Feng Cheng, the head of research, is suggesting we attempt to establish communications with these subterraneans. Subterraneans that may not even be conscious, may not even have a language, may be simply mindless beasts. Alternatively, Franca Garibaldi, the Minister of Defense and head of the Admiralty, is suggesting we attempt to launch a preemptive strike.
I'm from Buenos Aires, and I say kill them all! Yeah! Oh, yeah! Yeah!
Much debate within the High Chamber has taken place. The idea of establishing communications has been ruled out. However, Due to the time constraints and the fact that this would cost 5,000 research and we simply can't afford it, from a thematic perspective, I'm going to be saying that a preemptive strike is no longer possible. They are going to be with us before we can get to them. 4 legions from Unity have been dispatched under the command of Renata Garcia. Alongside the soldiers that already reside on Thebes, we are hopeful that we can meet this threat decisively in the field without having to resort to atomics that we currently can't bring to Thebes on time. Policies will need to be changed, local governors will need access to atomics in future so that a situation like this cannot be allowed to develop. We are waiting with bated breath, however, to find out what the fate of the Theban people will be.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Wait.
Ladies and gentlemen, the day is upon us. We are declaring an absolute emergency on Thebes. The aliens have surfaced. Feng Cheng remains hopeful they can be reasoned with. We are going to have to see. The aliens have told us that this world is theirs. They have cities, lichen farms, fish, and they've been there for thousands of years. Renata Garcia, the highest ranking official in the area, has taken command of the negotiations herself. Somehow, though, it seems that conversation broke down. On the record, it is claimed these basement dwellers have told us that the human race must submit to them. They lay claim on the Great Nothing and will attempt to destroy us. My God, there's large armies spewing forth from tunnels, a vanguard beginning an assault on our settlements. Security forces are responding. Renata is attempting to hold them back, but it is a desperate fight, a close fight. Somehow we have pushed them away. This is only a temporary solution. It is only a matter of time before they break out onto the surface again and attempt to lay waste to our people. Our strategists are devising new plans for the safety of Thebes. In a great speech to the combined assemblies, the Grand Marshal Sidney Beauclair has declared a policy of eternal vigilance. Thebes and the greater universe have shown us there are threats both within and without. Many would attempt to destroy humanity if given half a chance. If we display any weakness, we will be inviting attack.
We are the last relics of humanity. The future depends on us.
Following the successful defense of Thebes, Renata Garcia has been elevated to a position on the High Council. She is now the Lord High Admiral and will take a pivotal role in the policy of the Commonwealth moving forwards. The year is 2218. There has just been another attack on Thebes. The subterranean aliens emerged from their new tunnels in the middle of one of our major settlements. They then overwhelmed the local defenses and butchered our colonists. A few screaming survivors were dragged back underground by the aliens, who then retreated back into their tunnels. In the High Council, Renata Garcia has declared that the debate is now over. We must deploy all atomics below the surface. Many of the Theban population will be evacuated to the other side of the planet, but this may leave Thebes somewhat uninhabitable. We have a massive force defending here. Let's just see how it goes. Under heavy protest of this, Feng Cheng has retired from the council and been replaced with Noriko Ishii, a much more charismatic leader who accepts the importance of atomics in the defense of the Commonwealth space. Thebes stands at the brink. Beneath its scarred surface, the subterranean hordes gather, alien aggressors who once struck without warning, slaughtering our settlers and daring to challenge humanity's rightful claim to this world. The Commonwealth banners now cast long shadows over the planet's embattled cities. As divisions of our finest soldiers dig in for the decisive blow, the Lord High Admiral has authorized the unthinkable: a nuclear strike deep into the enemy's tunnel networks. The cost will be high. The surface may be left uninhabitable for decades. Yet we face an undeniable truth. Either we strike now, or we let Thebes fall. And if Thebes falls, it will not be the last. This is not a war for a single world, it is the defense of all humanity against those who would seek to drive us back into the void. The Commonwealth does not retreat. The Commonwealth does not surrender. The Commonwealth endures. Meanwhile, on the planet of Stonehead, called such for its rugged tundra terrain and stone head-shaped edifices, a debate is brewing on what to do with the pre-sapients we have found there. They have apparently been forcefully devolved. This hints at the work of a higher power, an intelligence malign and malignant that may turn its attention on the human race. In response, defense spending has gone up yet again, and the fleet is being expanded further. We have also begun the construction of Bastion starbases outfitted with the latest in gun batteries and surrounded by an impenetrable layer of Diligence-class defense platforms. Hopefully, these measures will be enough to protect us from any oncoming threat. In the Arrakis system, Feng Cheng, who has now devoted himself to a life as an explorer, stepping aside from politics, has managed to isolate a residual ion trail that is identical to the one that was produced by the Chrysanthemum's engines. It must have originated on the Hyacinth. We're going to follow that trail.
What trail?
The trail that we blaze! That trail that we blaze!
See.
Whilst hunting for the Hyacinth, contact has been lost with our ex-head of research. We are detecting a weak emergency signal from their last location. Whilst the High Council is at odds with Feng Sheng's opinions, he is a human they begrudgingly admit, and a previous member of the High Council. And therefore the full force of Strike Force Kraken will be brought to bear against this possible threat. In Wii U, the Strike Force has engaged a monstrous beast, a Cuthaloid. Apparently, luckily we did make short work of it with our beautiful red lasers, BEA beautiful stuff. And yeah, we found Feng Cheng inside, still somehow alive, though he has suffered some damage. He has been a Cuthaloid victim. The High Council has met and decided that these Cuthaloids are ambush predators and have no place in a civilized galaxy. For that reason, the directive has been given to kill them on sight. We have detected another Cuthaloid in the Corolla system, and we will of course be eliminating it. A safe galaxy is a human galaxy. Yet again, we can see the work of Franca Garibaldi and her brave Navy crewmen. We did sadly lose a Corvette, but we won the fight. We had a red alert in the home system. A mysterious alien fleet seems to have bypassed our defensive network and arrived in Unity. Somehow our scanners are not registering them as hostile, but thankfully they did not attack and have left. The High Council is firmly of the belief that a strong show of arms in the capital has put them off attacking us. Humans can live everywhere, even on a world with a weak magnetic field that is roasted by the star's local radiation. The inhabitants have called their planet Inferno, and it does seem to be hellish. Not just hellish, but unlucky. As we speak, the defensive networks have noticed an asteroid on a direct collision course. Thankfully, we have protocols to deal with this. We have a navy, and they are springing into action. All praise be to the Grand Marshal. Due to some technical errors, the asteroid has not been taken down, and Strike Force Kraken has fallen back. They seem to have had an FTL mishap. This is very worrying. The population of Inferno, tiny as it is now bracing for the oncoming storm. Thankfully, and honestly, it's a breath of relief because I thought the colonists were done for. Thanks to 2 Diligence-class defense platforms equipped with scout wings, the asteroid has been eliminated. But this does call into question the abilities of Franca Garibaldi as the Minister of Defense. The Grand Marshal has stripped Franca, in fact, of her position, and instead given the local starbase commander, Scott Garland, overall ranking authority within the Navy. To the galactic north of the Commonwealth space, we've encountered the Delta Bogies. As we've begun to pick up more and more visual images of the aliens, we can no longer deny it. We are dealing with a society of robots. This revelation has provoked widespread horror amongst our population, who've taken to describing them as repulsive toasters. Already, many are demanding that we take action to deal with this new mechanical threat. Renata has some good news to deliver to the Council, though. Our efforts to destroy the subterranean civilization on Thebes have been successful. We have managed to collapse several of their tunnels on top of their workers, and the caverns that house their cities have then been flooded with nerve gas. Casualty projections are close to 100%. Thankfully, the use of atomics was limited, and therefore the planet is actually doing rather well. In fact, our security forces are confident they can deal with any surviving stragglers, and the new underground areas are going to give us much room for expansion on Thebes. The Butcher of Thebes has been commended for her work. We do need to empty these corpse-filled caverns, and then we'll get access to all the goodies inside. On the furthest edge of our space in Diaden, at the same time, we've had another roaring success. The Hyacinth has been discovered. We're not receiving any power signatures or any distress beacons, but we are going to send an armed boarding party aboard to work out if we truly are all that is left of the human race. In honor of these great achievements, the Grand Marshal Sidney Beauclair has announced that we all share one vision. For true unity is only achieved when the ultimate goals of a nation and its people become one and the same. Private message to the High Council. The boarding party of the Hyacinth has returned and found remains in amounts consistent with the Ark ship's entire complement of 250,000 colonists. Most seem to have died from starvation, but there were some signs of small arms fire and cannibalism. We have submission logs, and yeah, overall, it didn't go well. They ran out of energy and food, and finally died. We're going to clear out this silent tomb and then tow it into orbit of Unity, making the thing one giant museum. It's going to be beautiful. We have met the Silicron Sovereignty. We attempted to speak to them properly, computer, when the audio receivers fell. But it seems that the Sovereignty were not interested in our words. They are led by an overseer computer, Syntactrix, and they have closed borders to us. We're attempting to establish a spy network inside of their networks, but we don't know how successful that's going to be. They've clearly got a larger fleet than ours, which means an immediate fleet building program should probably be undertaken. Yeah, we need more ships. Jumping back to Thebes again for a moment, our forces have mapped the tunnel network below the colony, clearing out those corpse-filled areas, and we've actually found a pocket of the civilization that managed to isolate itself from the rest of their underground empire before we flooded it with nerve gas. There are millions of aliens in the city, and we're going to put them out of our misery, or so orders the Butcher of Thebes. Any attempts at negotiations have broken down yet further. The Silicron Sovereignty have just declared us their rivals. In order to follow our supremacist stance on politics with this nascent robotic race, we've also declared that they are our rivals as well, even though they suck. We must know more about these robots. Subterfuge and infiltration are now the order of the day. All praise be to Grand Marshal Sidney Beauclair. The High Council are busy dealing with aliens on every front. The robots to the north, the pompous arseholes to the south, and now they're facing a new conundrum. In the Carino system to the north of Commonwealth space, there lies the planet of Carino 3, a continental world similar to Unity, which houses a civilization of aliens called the Urgalak. They are in what our scientists are saying is an equivalent of the Atomic Age back on Earth. Had we suffered another ice age on our planet, we may have arrived here a few hundred years into the future, and in fact it would be the Urgalak now seeing us as the primitives. Or perhaps they would have even come as far as Earth. Nuclear weapons are prolific on this planet, though they apparently have pacifist tendencies. They do not seek conflict. We had hoped to kick this issue into the weeds of time. However, the people of Carino 3, the Urgalak, are now searching beyond their world for intelligent life. Interference is permitted, but we are not yet sure what we want to do about these people. In a split vote of 3-2, with the Grand Marshal coming on the side of caution, the Butcher of Thebes, unsurprisingly pushing for an agenda of conquest and human supremacy, we're not going to greet these aliens until they're ready to meet us. By leaving Carino 3 untouched, the High Council has chosen patience over preemptive control. The Urgalak, decades behind us in every measure of progress, pose absolutely no threat now. Yet history teaches that alien ambitions can twist swiftly once they reach the stars. If guided carefully, they may serve as a minor trading partner or auxiliary force under Commonwealth oversight. Left entirely unchecked, they could quite quickly grow into a nuisance. Nothing we could not contain, of course, but a distraction nonetheless. For now, they remain a curiosity beneath our notice. The Commonwealth watches, prepared to act should these primitives forget their place in the order of things. It has been decades since we last heard from the Azantian remnant, but in the year 2240 they reached out again, calling us filthy husks who have allegedly encroached upon Azantian space for the last time. They have demanded we withdraw immediately. We are not within their space. This makes absolutely no sense. But the Commonwealth of Man, according to Grand Marshal Sidney, will not be bullied. The tyrannical leader has called for an immediate armament campaign and for all worlds to prepare ready to throw off any possible hostile attacks. We are not the aggressors, but we shall not be bullied. Intelligence reports the movement of a rather large fleet of alien ships. The Azanti are coming towards our border region. Meanwhile, over on Carino 3, the barbarians have somehow intercepted and deciphered a series of communications from our orbital observation post. This unfortunate leak has highlighted gaps in our security protocol. We should have been more careful. The awareness level of the Urgalak Society is now high. This is possibly bad. Oh, but we found some gold in those tunnels. Looks like the Butcher of Thebes is the gift that keeps on giving. We have a code red. In the Avarim system, Citadel is under attack by grotesque void worms. This is disgusting. We have alerted the fleet. We have deployed Strike Force Kraken. It is going to be 270 days before it arrives, though. This is not excellent. It seems the starbase itself is not going to be able to withstand this onslaught. Where are the reinforcements? Scott Garland's Strike Force is still 200 days away. The beleaguered defenses are trying their darndest to hold on. There we go. That is a successful repulsion of the enemy. I can't believe it. We have defeated the Void Worm with naught but a trade starbase and 2 defensive platforms. At this point, Scott Garland has also been stripped, and Renata Garcia has now been replaced as the Minister of Defense, with Mahima Gaudwa taking on the role of Lord High Admiral. Ladies and gentlemen of the Council, the Azantian remnant have just declared war upon the human race. They have called us foul, ugly bags of mostly water, and apparently we had better prepare ourselves. Their flesh harvesters are coming for our cubs. We will rally the defenses. Currently, we have Strike Force Scylla led by Franca Garibaldi on the front line, ready to defend. Alongside the Norgon starbase, this bastion of human righteousness, we will repulse the alien threat. Possibly. It seems that Farda has immediately fallen. That's not good. We're going to set a humiliation war goal against them. They may have taken some undefended outlying systems, but this at Norgon is where we hold them back. Our fleet stands ready, and we are engaging. What happened? The fleet seems to have been lost. I'm a little bit unsure. Franca Garibaldi is alive, but where are they? And the starbase has fallen. The starbase has immediately fallen. We are declaring an absolute emergency across the Commonwealth. Our greatest defensive bastion has fallen within seconds of taking on this hostile threat. There can be no doubt amongst the High Council this represents an existential threat to the Commonwealth, and we must come to the table. Grand Marshal Sidney Beauclerc has taken to the airwaves to declare the unconditional surrender of the human race. This is the worst possible outcome. According to the news reports, the Grand Marshal was dispatched with unseen weaponry and practiced brutality by the Azantian remnants. They have killed our great Grand Marshal. Stepping into the gap, Renata Garcia has now risen to be the Grand Marshal of the entire human race. She has brought back Scott Garland as the Minister of Defense and allegedly definitely had nothing to do with the death of the previous Grand Marshal. We've quietly removed our starbase in Kidatha. Yeah, that's a problem that we will deal with at another time. It's not been broadcast on the news. The Grand Marshal's not broadcasting it, but we have, at the request of the Azantian Remnant, removed our presence in that system. All resources are now being devoted to preparations. What kind of preparations, I hear you ask, ladies and gentlemen? Well, we are preparing to defend and safeguard the Commonwealth against all possible threats. And at the moment, apparently there is no greater threat than the Silicron sovereignty. The Urgalax Society have also just gotten into space. They now are a spacefaring nation, and the new Grand Marshal does not want to suffer another defeat at the hands of Xenos. Transports are being dispatched, and this threat will be eliminated swiftly.
We have superior technology and firepower. Impenetrable defenses. The mistake would be not to act.
The High Council has swiftly reformed around this new leader, a great Grand Marshal, one that will usher in an age of prosperity and peace. At the age of 74, the great scientist Feng Cheng, discoverer of the hyacinth, has died. We are now planning a grand parade in his honor. Our brave men and women are on Carino 3, and we will safeguard ourselves. There we go. The Xenos were no match. Absolute success. Fantastic. The only thing we now need to do is make sure to properly police this world. Let's see what's going on. We have a large number of civilians now available. Yes, let's get on with it. The governor sent to administer Carino has been killed by the local alien population. This is terrible. In order to do something about this direct threat, we are landing our entire armed force battalion on the planet, and we're going to be instigating martial law in perpetuity here. This does give the Grand Marshal a chance to replace the previous Lord High Admiral, who just died, with Franca Garibaldi, who's so grateful to be brought back into the administration. She's rubber stamping everything the Grand Marshal does. Our economy is somewhat in tatters, but at this point it seems only fair, right, and reasonable that we defeat this northern threat. They may have some allies in the Vuran sovereignty, rock monsters and rock metal aliens together. Disgusting, but the Grand Marshal is confident we can remove them from our borders. We are striking deep into the heart of enemy space, quickly and efficiently. Scott Garland is clearly the man for the job. The enemy forces do seem to outnumber us slightly. We're going to pull back a little bit. See if we can't dash them against some of our defenses. Okay, they've got 10,000 worth of fleet power coming towards us at this very moment, equipped with not just corvettes but also destroyers, and they do have equivalent laser weaponry to our own. So we're going to sit at the diadem system. Depending on if they attack Carino or Wayu, we'll then know which way to tumble. There in Medgar, we are running out of consumer goods. That's a local issue for the planetary governors to resolve, I would have thought. Oh, and the situation on Carino gets worse and worse. We've now got a corrupt administration, mob rule, stellar culture shock. The attempt at anti-crime campaign has not gone over swimmingly. The enemy have separated their fleets. This is a tactical mistake by them. 5,000 fleet power there. In Cardoth, well, we've lost communications with Cardoth, but we saw 6,000 the last report cycle. We also have the new UV lasers soon under our control. Perhaps researching this technology of ion disruptors may help. We've jumped in. Let's turn on our advanced firing edicts, the focusing crystals, and we'll hopefully make short work of this enemy fleet. Yes, that was a resounding victory, though the enemy forces are still superior to us, apparently. One of our science ships has been destroyed during a first contact in the midst of this war. The galaxy is clearly a dark and dangerous place, inimical to human life. In fact, we now have a revolt brewing on Corino 3. That's just brilliant. We're instituting an immediate crackdown. I'm pretty sure that's going to put this revolt thing to rest instantly. Yes, good. Let that be the final word in the story of rebellion. Oh, and while this is happening, apparently there's a world with some primitives on. We don't know anything about the primitives yet, but yeah, it looks like they're going to be destroyed by an asteroid. Oops. The year is 2250. We are still at war with the Silicron, a war that is raging on our borders, but we've just received communications from people claiming to be the United Nations of Earth. They claim that it is incredible that we are humans. I'm not entirely sure they are human. This could be some alien trick, some alien threat. They do have extensive knowledge of the chrysanthemum, but maybe they've stolen that from our databases. Our warriors salute the humans together. Maybe, if they are really human, we can strive for a better future for all humanity. Let's send in a little spy to figure out what's going on. We have spies in the Silicron, and now we've got some spies amongst the humans. It seems the Silicron have also enslaved some biologicals. These machines would clearly seek to enslave all humans too, all biological life in the galaxy. These Tronzaro had been reduced to serviles, their brains scooped out over eons by their machine masters. Disgusting. We're taking the fight to them on their planet of isosceles. Like the triangle, it's a bit weird. Come on, our circles must defeat their circles. They've only got a few defense armies left. Come on. And there we go. We have achieved planetary supremacy. Absolutely well done for stamping out these revolting uprisings. But Silicron are not yet ready to come to the table. It took almost a decade on Corino 3, but we finally managed to establish order. Deborah Compton, we salute you. Previously the Chief Security Officer of Citadel, you have done the Lord's work. Yup, we just missed an enemy fleet. Let's try and take them on again. Turning on our focusing crystals and jumping straight into the fight. We've hit them on the edge of their space. Yes, this is looking good. Another solid victory for the Commonwealth. Rejoice, citizens. Your time is nigh. There's a horde of technology available on the debris of these ruined ships as well. We're going to pilfer that and use it as we must. We've tracked the remnants of the Silicron forces here to Iovaris, just within a stone's throw of their capital. Once we've knocked out their fleets here, we're going to press on to their homeworld and take out this metal menace once and for all. It's time to unplug. We're in the capital. There. Oh no, they're attacking our transport fleet. The commander has left the transports to fend for themselves. That is not good. How are we meant to take the planet with the transports lost in space? Sacrificing the army for a victory amongst the stars definitely says a lot about the inter-service rivalries of the Commonwealth of Man. We settled in to simply bombard the planet from orbit instead. Perhaps we can free some of these Tronzaru from their evil masters. The Lord High Admiral Franca Garibaldi's retired. Let's bring in Lothar Schmidt, another great yes man. Confidence is high that this is the last fleet of the Silicron. Once we knock this final engagement out of the park, which we are doing as I speak, all praise be to Scott Garland, then we can retake the star bases we didn't have. And oh my goodness, what is that? It seems Epira is no longer under our control. The Silicron are offering peace at this time. They've lost their capital, though we still retain nominal control of the planet. How confusing. I think while this situation is ongoing, it might be a reasonable course of action to end the fight for now so that we can come back and reassess where we need to. It seems we won't even need to take apart the Silicron that we've grabbed. They will work as robots for us. Servitude is required. Now we've got a whole host of other people that we've picked up, I suppose. It's going to take us a little bit of time to write this economy. It's kind of all over the place at the moment, but eventually we will figure it out. Don't you worry, ladies and gentlemen. The political situation has gotten rather complicated. The Tumbatoran silencers, which occupy quite a large region of space to the northwest of us, are attacking the Silicron sovereignty, and conventional logic would maintain that the enemy of our enemy is our friend. But I'm not sure that any alien can truly be a friend to humanity. What we now need is a secure border network. We need more starbases, more defense platforms, more power. For that reason, Grand Marshal Renata Garcia has decided we must grasp the void. With absolutely no fanfare, no pomp or circumstance, the Silicron sovereignty has fallen at the hands of the Tumbatoran silencers. Well, that's probably a problem for somebody else. We're going to set our border defenses up, building massive bastion starbases to defend our recently conquered worlds, and just hope that that's enough. We do need to find out what is going on amongst the Tumbatoran, though, so we're going to infiltrate them as well. This is just a routine operation. It should be fine. We have also simultaneously built up some assets. We have a hacker here within the United Nations of Earth, and we are acquiring more. In the Commonwealth year 2282, the Grand Marshal Renata Garcia died. We held a great state funeral for her. She heralded in the defeat of the Silicron and their subjugation as your erstwhile home companions. Yes, the Silicron are now basically all over our empire, and they are used as household robots. Isn't that nice? Not only that, but let us not forget the drifting people of Corino 3, who, without our direct guidance, may have destroyed themselves and possibly us alongside. Fierce debate now rages as to who should take over, but I don't have enough unity to actually make a decision here, so we're going to leave it up to the High Council, who have seen fit to elect Grand Marshal Bancole. Thanks to his immortality, as he is now intemporal, he is now the Commonwealth ruler for all time. I'm sure that'll be fine, not a problem. Under the grand watchful eye of our great Grand Marshal Bancole, we have finished the Grand Archive. This is a passion project of our Grand Marshal, who's desperate to display all of the kind of random knickknacks that he's found throughout his career, just like the ancient bus, the hot ice, the crystallized Cuthalloid eye, the figurehead of the hyacinth, the political memoir, nanite sludge, enormous scrambled albumen, and the impossible object, and some sort of old gun, a beautiful piece of oiled fabric. Yeah, I guess that's about it. After an intense study of our recovered Irasian artifacts in our great beautiful new Grand Archive, we've managed to find the Irasian home system. We're going to survey it, we're going to find out everything about it, and then we're going to decide if we need to blow it up or not. Spoiler alert, we probably need to blow it up. The quiet, unassuming, and barren planet of Irasia within the Irasian system is actually the former homeworld of the Irasian Concordat. Someone has relatively recently, within the last 2,000 years, we think, gone through the trouble of systematically bombarding every square meter of the moon's surface from orbit. Possibly some sort of misguided attempt to keep the Javorian pox from resurfacing. Despite this, the surface is still covered in the fossilized remains of the billions of Irasians who succumbed to the plague in the final years of their empire. By the time it had spread to their homeworld, most of the worlds in the Irasian Concordat had already fallen, and their alien vassals were in open revolt. Judging by ancient satellite logs recovered from orbit, the mood among the population on the Irasian homeworld was largely resigned by this point. The widespread panic that accompanied the first outbreaks of the pox in the colonies was largely absent, as most had come to accept the fact that their end was drawing near. This has given us a whole host of things to look at, not least of which is the secrets of the Irasians, which we are going to dive into deeply. And also, we now have a Javorian pox sample. By using it in small amounts, we can attune this virus to our leaders and help them to live longer. We can also edit it just a little bit to create a new strain that will be infective to non-Irasians. Not as virulent or lethal as the original disease was to the Irasians, it's still a potent biological weapon we can use to destroy the enemies of man. The altered Javorian pox is now humanity's ultimate safeguard, a silent, planet-killing weapon reserved for the greatest threats to our existence. In the right hands, it is not merely a tool of conquest, but a shield against extinction. Its mere existence will give pause to any alien power considering war with the Commonwealth, forcing them to weigh their own survival against their ambition. Yet such a weapon carries a solemn burden. Its use would scar worlds beyond repair and possibly mark a point of no return. The High Council's resolve must be absolute, for the pox is not merely a deterrent, it is the final word in deterrence. The year is 2296. A voidworm plague has just begun. We're going to search for a cure desperately, and we are going to attempt to hold them back at our borders. A plague is the least of our worries right now. The Bessadorans have united under a single Great Khan. They are a long way away from us. Hopefully, Zax, the Great Khan of the Bessadoran Horde, will not be coming anywhere near the Commonwealth of Man anytime soon. Otherwise, I think we've done a pretty good job here at robustly defending our borders. The Bessadoran Horde has claimed a large swathe of Havrigan Alliance space. I don't know how they've got here, but they did. I think, in fact, actually, the Havrigan Alliance is, at this point, entirely puny and pathetic. It would be an opportune moment to strike. Regardless of that, the Grand Marshal, His Immortal Majesty Bankole, has decided in order for the human race to survive such a harsh and hostile galaxy, we must immediately begin pursuing the path of purity. Only by refining the human genome and making it as strong as it could possibly be can the Commonwealth of Man move forwards as a unit. Chants from protesters echo through the cities of the Commonwealth. A rebellious faction within our nation has taken it upon themselves to reject our cause and turn away from the path to purity. These troublemakers preach the supposed need for genetic diversity and cultural integration. If their activism continues unaddressed, there is a risk that our progress towards purity could falter. In the name of the Grand Marshal of the Commonwealth of Man, we will stamp out these dissidents. Engineering our own evolution has led to some profound advancements. The human race now possesses a deeper understanding of genetic traits, reproduction, and genetic sequencing. The culmination of our progress is now within reach. In just a few short years, we will fully realize our potential as a species, all thanks to the great Grand Marshal Bankole. Praise his name. For the next stage of our evolution, we plan to introduce a bit of somatic subversiveness within the genome. Utilizing some specific mutations should allow the overall purity to be higher. It's some mental gymnastics, but that's what I'm being told by the folks down in PR. Well, those somatic mutations, yeah, problematic. It turns out we've been getting some spontaneous limb growth, fluctuations between states of matter, sudden onset metamorphosis. The reports are few and far between, but they cannot be ignored. Our experiments with mutation are garnering some less than desirable results across our civilization. Perhaps unlocking the tools to modify one's genes at will was more than we initially bargained for. We will cull the abominations. The Havrigan Alliance has just become a satrapy under the Bessadoran Horde. The year is 2308. We are now ready, well, we're not quite ready, we're very soon going to be ready to defend ourselves. Or at least we'll have to be. Interestingly, our great leader may have a way to deal with this. A small percentage of our population has developed extraordinary abilities and physical enhancements due to their experiments with mutation. As uniquely strong and gifted people, they are forming a community and garnering a lot of attention from the public. It sounds like they would make good soldiers. We have created a number of gene warrior armies, genetically enhanced super soldiers. These lightning fast warriors descending from the sky on pods that kind of fall down. You could say they drop, I suppose. They are going to be the forefront, the spear of our defense. We stand at an evolutionary crossroads. Our efforts have led us to the brink of a significant shift. Soon, we must make a crucial decision regarding the path we will take. But ladies and gentlemen, I say we must believe everything the Grand Marshal says. Bancole knows what we need. And what we need is purity. Imperfection remediation will allow us to identify any genetic outliers and eradicate them from the gene pool. As a result of our focus on genetic purification, some augmented citizens believe that they are more equal than others. They are viewing themselves as inherently superior to the rest of the population, demanding shorter workdays, more amenities, stronger political powers, and this is all due to their perceived superiority. Their increasingly aggressive rallies are causing significant societal disruptions. You know what? We're going to clamp down on the demonstrators, I believe. No, actually, their entitlement could be warranted. There we have it. Biomorphosis is complete. We now will know what it means to be pure. Let's grab the optimized neurology. It's an excellent addition. We'll take somatic subversiveness, genotype regeneration, and then I'm thinking we'll go for exemplary genetics. The great Emperor Bancole has reorganized the Commonwealth into a brand new structure, a nucleic judiciary. Wielding the genetic and biometric data of our citizens as tools, we can dish out preemptive justice and scrutinize every person's genetic code for any criminal predispositions. By intervening before transgression, it ensures meticulous oversight of our population. This has brought stability on every single world, rocketing up to 100%. There is not a single planet that has stability below 100% except this one, and we should do something about that right now. There we go, 100% stability achieved. Under the eternal guidance of Emperor Bancole, the nucleic judiciary has elevated the Commonwealth to a pinnacle of order unknown in human history. The Commonwealth stands poised to reshape not only law, but human destiny itself. Having stability at 100% frees entire worlds from the drains of policing, prisons, and unrest, allowing resources to be poured into expansion, technological supremacy, and galactic victory. Over generations, predictive governance could redefine humanity's genetic and psychological makeup, breeding out traits deemed too dangerous to the order. Civil dissent should become not merely rare, but biologically impossible. The question is not whether the system will endure, because it will, but whether a humanity engineered for perfect compliance will also possess the ambition and adaptability needed to master the galaxy. The United Nations of Earth have created a federation, the Federated Associated Nations. They've not offered us a seat at this table, however, they deigned to offer us association status. We spat in their face. We do not need association with any kind of organization like that. No, we are going to prevent the Havarigan Alliance wreaking any more havoc. And after they are dealt with, the Tumbatoran Silencers, I think, should be next. First we'll go westward, then north. Just as we begin our westward attack into the Khan satrapy, the Khan Zax has actually died. No government is willing to claim responsibility for it, but we know what the galaxy is like. Locked away in his private study, Emperor Bancole is researching something great. Gene seed purification will give us genetically enhanced super soldiers that will be stronger than anything any enemy can dare field against us. And then we'll just win, right? The death of the old Khan has led to a new Khanate, the new Besodon Khanate, stretching from the west all the way to our direct neighborhood. Not sure how strong they are, but they're definitely there. Probably utilizing some of the research from our genetic ascension, we've discovered a cure to that voidworm plague. Now it's no longer going to bother us at all. In fact, I think we might as well fly over here and kill off whatever voidworms remain. Our forces are assembled on the edge of the Tumbatoran Silencer's space. The Emperor has decreed this alien threat must end, and it must end now. The ramparts will be brought up behind, so even if our mighty forces lose these engagements, we will still be strong and ready to repulse whatever might come at us. Oh, and did I mention the Space Marines are coming with us? It's possible we've bitten off more than we can chew, but we're going to try anyway. We have engaged in the Ambesia system. It is a massive fight, good lord. We are heavily outnumbered, but we do have more efficient weaponry that is tailor-made for this pulsar system. If we're going to hold these disgusting alien cats here, then we might be in with a chance of winning the overall war. That was a fantastic fight. Medals all around. How many ships did we lose? 10 corvettes, 12 defense platforms, 7 destroyers, and that is it. Though we didn't really deal very much damage to the other side, just a few ships. And if anything, maybe they came out ahead during that engagement. Not good. Also engaging our starbase in the Iowa Fravis system. That's fallen. That's fallen. At least we do have quite a large garrison down here on power, and even then they run away. Good. They know they cannot stand against our might. Once more onto the breach the aliens have come. And once more we shall send them packing. Oh, maybe not. They've got even larger numbers now, greater forces. The full shield nullification here is helpful, though it's probably just not enough. We're taking much larger losses than last time. They're coming in close now, close to the starbase. We do have a bastion as backup. A deep space citadel, and there we go. That is another solid pushback. Though again, it looks like we took larger losses. The Emperor is wringing his hands. We've taken the fight to the enemy. This may have been a mistake. They're countering us with some relatively large fleets. All of this is to come to the defense of an economically important, generally critical world. It houses 8.4 thousand pops, which in total is about 15% of our galaxy-wide population. Though luckily there's not that many humans here, so if we do lose it, it's not the end of the world. And they've landed on power. Did they just land on power, or did they retreat? I think they retreated. They brought up over 150,000 fleet power. We don't have anywhere near that kind of number, but we're doing more damage to hull than they are. Hopefully that will win out, though I'm not feeling super confident. Our Sea Witch class destroyers really are carrying us here with those ion disruptors, but I'm not sure it's enough. This could be the final. No, we have pulled it off. My goodness me. My God. Oh, I'm now in breach of the Military Readiness Act because too many of my ships have died. That's disturbing. By the Emperor, they brought in 200,000 fleet power now to deal with our 4 tiny fleets that combined, yeah, they just about equal 100k, I suppose, but it won't be enough because we have the Emperor on our side. That's what you get, alien scum. And another victory. We have been pushing back and forth in this area for quite a while. Interestingly, due to the fact we've lost only 45 ships and they've lost almost 100, our war exhaustion is relatively low. Oh, this is such a cat and mouse. They're back here attacking us in power. I'm going to let that be for now, hopeful that these two fleets combined at 60k are not enough to breach the border at Ambesia. Though they might be, they really might be. And instead I'm going to push on here to Epira, take it out, knock down whatever they've got left. Whilst there is a gravity storm ongoing, I don't even know if I have the technology to prevent that from damaging our ships. We fight on no matter what. And that's a victory. That is a solid victory again. Disruptors once more showing their worth alongside laser spam. Yeah, that fleet's too big for our 70k. We're pulling back. Again, the border is mobile. No, we've been caught. We are engaging. This is not going to go well. That represents basically the best of our crusade. And if it falls, we will surely follow. No. Right, Jishen must retreat. And actually at this point, I think we're going to settle status quo, because otherwise we're simply going to lose the Retuveka system. Kind of a a muted campaign there for sure. Not much of a crusade, honestly. More of a run around, I suppose. We've learned a lot of valuable lessons, and that's definitely something that's important. And it's a total failure. We did capture and maintain one system, the Rituveka system. That's something, I suppose. We're going to reinforce this border here. I need stronger deep space citadels. I don't need Mark 1s. I don't need Mark 2s. I need Mark 3s. I need a defense network that can withstand hundreds of thousands worth of fleet power that the enemy is going to throw so that our aggressive ships can move forwards at will, dispatch what's left of the attackers. The Emperor has decreed the fleets are an instrument of his will. For that reason, we're grabbing Galactic Force Projection. That's going to boost our naval capacity by 100. Yes, we're still in breach of Galactic Law because we have a naval capacity usage of half of our total nav cap. Oops, but more importantly, we're getting more commander capacity and plus 50 fleet command limit. Our fleets are bigger, our fleets are better. We're also improving upon the Gene Warriors. The Space Marines are getting an upgrade. I'm calling them, yes. They are the guardians of our genetic purity, the custodians of human achievement. I'm going to buy a shed ton of them. Whilst we rearm the Fatician Crusaders, while they're launching a crusade of their own. From over here, right next to the United Nations of Earth, who are no longer even led by a human. Are these humans? I'm not really sure anymore. We have assembled new fleets. 165,000 fleet power in total and 10,000 worth of our brilliant armies. We have doubled our defenses. Bigger and better citadels, stronger and larger bastions. And now, I believe we can finally enact the will of the Emperor and eliminate this fanatic purifier. Our spy network has gathered a host of assets and we are at 100% intel. We know exactly where their fleets are, they're over here, and we know exactly what they're composed of. Basically, lots of autocannons, railguns, a few cutting lasers, you get the general gist. And now, while they are out of position, we will contain them. Our brave soldiers descend to the surface and fight the filthy aliens hand to hand if they have to. Meanwhile, the enemy fleets have arrived. Let's take them out. Confidence is high. Confidence is high. We're dealing a lot more damage to hull than they are. Come on. All you have to do is kill all of them. I think it's going well. Oh, goodness me. It's a bloodbath. It's a brawl. Our ships, their ships. It's hard to tell who is who. I think that's our ships regaining health. Yes, we do have an engineer. That is a victory. We've repulsed them. Okay, I think this crusade is going to go a lot better than the first time. Welcome to Crusade 2, Electric Boogaloo. Here they come again for a second attempt to repulse us. We're feeling good. The first engagement went really well. Honestly, really, really well. So if this one goes badly, we're all going to be surprised back home at HQ. So far, it looks like we're dealing massive damage relative to theirs. They've got autocannons. They have to penetrate first our shields, then attempt to chew through our armor, whereas we can just use disruptors on them to our heart's content. Disrupting them today, disrupting them tomorrow, disrupting them forever. Tumbatika is the capital system of the Tumbatoran silencers, and it will fall. At this point, it's no longer war, it is sport. We have two very large fleets that they are no longer able to contend with in isolation, let alone together. And we're just moving through creating bulkheads, cutting off key sectors and key resources, taking the planets, invading, and then moving on. The year is 2365. In just 10 short years, the Tumbatoran silencers have gone from a galactic threat to a backwater power on just a handful of worlds, holding a handful of systems. This is a successful crusade. We've even managed to seize a relic, the Infinity Root. Ooh, we can grow a new leader. Let's grow a new leader. The Stalk of Gold does not count towards our leader capacity because it has the Eager trait. Though it's a filthy alien, so I am going to purge it. The year is 2368. We currently have some economic issues. Yeah, energy is a problem, which is then having a knock-on effect for trade. We're good for alloys, we're good for unity, we're good for research. It's just this energy production across our many, many worlds. Perhaps also if I could boost trade as well, we'd have a good time. I'm swapping over some of these foundry arcologies and physics arcologies and turning them instead into commercial nexes. That way we'll get some more traders, and the traders should be good at getting additional trade value. A big part of this is our planetary deficits. Planetary deficits hurt. And if we run out of money, our crusade will be over. And I don't want it to be over, I want victory. Emperor Bancole demands it. The Tumbatoran silencers have been reduced to but 2 remaining planets, Polim here and the habitat of Desadia. Yet despite this tremendous victory for the Commonwealth of Man over those that would destroy us in the stars, the Mandasuran Authority has nominated the United Nations of Earth as a galactic custodian. Absolutely despicable. I mean, clearly, the galactic community does not know what they are doing. And there we are, the Tumbatoran silencers silenced for good. To make sure that nothing like the Tumbators happen again, we're going to nurse staple the entire population and enforce some docility on them. That way we can be sure of a safe galaxy. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, a human galaxy is a safe galaxy. We've identified 2 targets, either the Galactic Reassembly Initiative, a devouring swarm, clearly evil, or possibly the Azantian Remnant, who are posturing threateningly at our border, and maybe now, finally, the time has come to wipe them out of existence. Ladies and gentlemen of the High Chambers, it is time to bow our heads in shame. The Galactic Senate, clearly a fastidious and vile organization, has just bestowed emergency custodianship powers upon the United Nations of Earth. In a ceremony broadcast across the galaxy, they have been appointed as the official custodians of the galactic community. As the first amongst equals, the human mutatis government is now charged with safeguarding the galactic community from all potential threats, be they internal or external. They have been granted vast powers in all community matters and can now propose special resolutions. What we're planning to do is catch them slightly off guard and off balance. There's strong confidence among the Admiralty that a massive first strike should wipe out the Azantian Remnant fleet and then allow for further attack. We're going to sacrifice the lives of some army transports in order to achieve this, but it's a necessary goal. Alright, the final fleet is here. I believe we're now in position. Ladies and gentlemen, this enemy has plagued us since our very first steps into space. Now, at last, let them be ended. What we do today, we do in the name of humanity everywhere. And we've engaged. That is a massive first strike from our forces. We are dealing more damage than they are, knocking out ships left, right, and center. Our long-range particle lances aren't quite as good as their weaponry, but they are still solid, packing a strong punch. It looks like we're going to be winning this engagement. And there we are. We've had a full retreat from the Azantian forces. Now we push the attack. Their starbases may be mighty, but they are falling to our onslaught. Their ships have returned, and they seem to have snuck around our forces a little bit. We're going to go chase them down. These mighty transports are holding back the Azantian Remnant just a little bit. Their sacrifice will not be in vain. For now, the bulk of our forces have time to charge down the enemy. There we go, we finally caught them. With this decisive engagement, we basically wiped out what remained of their forces. Excellent. Just as we suspected, there is a Colossus in the capital system of the Azantian. They are harboring weapons of mass destruction. Only through a swift and glorious victory can we bring safety and stability to the galaxy as a whole. Yeah, we're gonna need more armies though. In light of the revelation about their weapons of mass destruction, the Emperor has authorized the deployment of the Javorian Pox. This is going to cause catastrophic damage to the inhabitants of the world, the Azantians and Pakari slaves, but it should bring about a swift and glorious end to this conflict. Alturion is now leading the charge on boundary. We've deployed xenomorphs, we've deployed gene warriors. The Azanti defenses will soon crumble, and we'll be able to declare peace in this region of the galaxy. The devastation on this fallen Empire colony is getting ridiculous. We're up to 82% here. It still hasn't fallen. Some of the pops are dying. That's kind of a problem for the future though, but we are going to eventually break through and win soon. Envoys from the galactic community have now compiled a list of articles that the Commonwealth of Man are in violation of. They warn of possible consequences should we not make ourselves in alignment with galactic law. We decided to execute the envoys, I think. Yeah, let's do it. That will show them we mean business. To get through to the final 2 worlds and complete this crusade, we have to tackle a deep space citadel with 320,000 fleet power. Not just 1, in fact, but 2. Let's tango. That is a lot of enemy firepower. It's definitely hitting, good gosh. But we have wiped it out. Let's move on to the next one. Point and shoot. It's fair to say that we've literally unleashed hell amongst the heavens here. With the fall of Siu, the ancient Azantian remnant has finally met its demise at our hands. We've only got a massive trade deficit issue going on, otherwise the economy's looking great. Aha, it seems the machinations of old Earth have failed. This custodian is currently at war with a number of its subjects, the Yalon Technocracy, the Republic of Gear, and also, I believe, the Shabtak Concord. Yes, they've all declared war on old Earth. Suppose we could swoop in after this victory and wipe out what resistance remains and reclaim our birthright. Next up on the chopping block, I can see the Republic of Gear. They've just thrown off the yoke of one set of human oppressors. Let's show them a proper way to flagellate. We're going to give it a go. We're going to take them on at range. It's a massive fleet configuration here. Yeah, almost double our hit points. Here come the fighters and the corvettes. Here come the weapons that we don't actually use, good lord. I don't want to discourage our soldiery, but I don't think we're winning this engagement. Uh-oh. It's like the aliens are about to swarm over us, around us, and through us. That was a hard-fought battle, but in the end, we did have to pull back. Yeah, hard to say really who won that engagement from a destruction point of view. Okay, I managed to scramble together a hasty blockade here. Forfion now has a fortress with an FTL inhibitor. That's going to prevent the enemy flying past Sigma Draconis here and into the rest of our territory. We can then slowly but surely bring back our forward attack vessels, bring back our fleets, and take the fight once more at the enemy's gate. Here comes restoration, here comes human might. The United Nations may have fallen to the Republic of Gear, but we shall not waver. We shall push back this menace and cap it inside a bottle once more. Round 2 electric boogaloo, here we go. This time we've hit them in a disarrayed fashion. They're no longer all bunched up. They don't have superior firepower. They've never had superior firepower. They now do not have superior numbers, and we really are fighting them ship to ship. Now that we've crippled their fleets in space, the rest of this should be basically a cleanup operation. Oh, I finally found a relic worthy of us, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to introduce you to the Continuum. I press a button and I get all the resources I could ever want. The only issue is I don't actually have space for a lot of it. You know what? Screw it. We're just pressing the button anyway. 38,000 alloys. Why, thank you. There's only 2 Republic of Gear outposts left. They've tried to hide at the other end of a little wormhole, but that's not going to save them for very long. There falls the Republic of Gear. Now, the Emperor's attention is turning to a greater prize. The United Nations of Earth lie right upon our doorstep, and the Emperor has decreed we should be one people once more. So we're going to bring the boys and girls back together. If the United Nations of Earth is brought into the Commonwealth by diplomacy or by force, humanity will stand truly united for the first time in centuries. No longer divided by weak councils and competing doctrines, our species could project unrivaled power across the stars. A unified human fleet would dwarf any alien navy, securing our borders and deterring aggression before it can even begin. Industrial and scientific integration would accelerate our expansion, ensuring that no Xeno empire could ever challenge our ascendancy. Such consolidation may alarm the galaxy, but their fear would be our shield. A single banner, a single leader, a single destiny. The human century begins. Especially because the humans are leading the resistance against our calls for a declaration of crisis on the Galactic Reassembly Initiative. These things are monstrous. They are terravores, they are cordyceptic, so they take over the brains and minds of others, and they have a strength of legion thing. We need to stop them, but apparently the United Nations and the rest of the galaxy disagrees, which means we have to stop them first. Alrighty, everyone is now in position. Let's bring the hammer down. We're even going to be making some jumps here. That looks like it's the Allied human fleets. Let's wipe them out. I think this is the largest engagement we've ever had to face, because these ship numbers are bigger than anything we've ever seen before. We have about 1 million fleet power on our side, 1.3 roughly, and we're facing off here against 500,000. Ruh-roh indeed. Come on, keep firing. We need to break through this human blockade so we can get to the soft underbelly of Earth. The community has agreed and declared somebody a crisis. Good. The Galactic Reassembly Initiative. But because we are at war with the United Nations of Earth, we are in fact excluded from this crisis war, and we don't have to fight in it. Which means we now have free reign to wipe out the United Nations of Earth wherever we can find it. It seems the United Nations of Earth, falling under our boot heel, have given up their custodianship. Now is the time of Emperor Bancole, who's not even level 10 yet. I mean, come on, Emperor, come on. We've arrived in Alpha Centauri. Sol is just a solitary jump away, if you'll pardon the pun. What is that? That is some sort of ghostly armada they've now brought up. They are using even the dead, or dimensional horrors, or some sort of monstrous sub-abomination people to attack us. But yet, our beams, our lances, they remain strong. Goodness gracious me, we really do have the range advantage here. I think we're going to wipe them out without taking a single shot. That defies belief a little bit, honestly, but yep, we did. Not one shot. These land battles are getting so long and so large at this point, and we're doing so much collateral damage that often we kill the entire population in an attempt to take the damn planet. I'm not sure if that means the planet cracks before the guard does, but it's something. For example, Hope now is down to only 382 pops, yet still the planetary defense armies fight on. Meanwhile, apparently there's some subspace echoes, some sort of storm out there on the horizon. Not sure that's going to matter to us. We are now attacking Sol directly. The assembled fleets of the United Nations of Earth will be no match for our 1.5 million fleet power. And all of our transports as well. Here we come, the birthright, our people. The planet Earth will be ours momentarily. Beloved Earth, what have they done to you? They filled you with mutated humans. Yuck. At this point, the Commonwealth of Man is about to be nominated Galactic Custodian. We have the largest fleets in the galaxy. 3.5 million fleet power scattered around. We've retaken old Earth. Even if the crisis shows up, we're going to slap it back into submission. At this point, everything else is left as simply an exercise. The only thing we really need to do now is purge every alien within human space, just to make sure, even though they're nerve stapled, we can't be too careful, ladies and gentlemen. With Earth reclaimed, the Commonwealth enthroned as galactic custodians, the crisis destroyed, and every Xeno purged from the galaxy, humanity stands as the sole steward of the stars. For the first time in galactic history, order is absolute. No alien intrigues, no rival empires, no existential threats. The vast machinery of industry and science can now turn inwards, perfecting human society yet further, expanding our reach to every habitable world. Some may call this tyranny. History will call it survival. In this human galaxy, Emperor Bancole's eternal galaxy, peace will not be enforced by fragile treaties, but by the unshakable will of a single people. At last, the stars belong to humanity alone. Don't forget, you can click the link in the description and wishlist Ashes of the Singularity 2 on Steam today and also support this channel. If you enjoyed this video where we charted the history of the Commonwealth of Man into the far future, you might want to see what happened when we tried playing as the United Nations of Earth, facing all crisis factions. We also actually tried to play the UNE as the good guys. If you want to find out if that's even possible, click the video on screen now.